You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Pekka's there on the backhand, scoring the save, rebound in the crease, they score!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the T-Birds in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney.
And this episode number 11 of season 3 of the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast is proudly brought to you by our friends at MassCon United Training Center in Agawam. They are at mcutrainingcenter.com. By our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. They are at tdsspeech.com. And our fan rant and the podcast itself is sponsored by our friends at Landscaping That Fits. Remember, time's a ticking. You have till December 31st to go to landscapingthatfits.com, enter the promo code SRG20 to get 20% off of your fertilizing for the 2026 year. Alongside Matt Baker, I am Steve Forney. What's up, Matt? How are you, buddy?
Doing well. How are you? A little
Well,
under the weather?
I gotta apologize to the people because this voice sounds horrible. I'm so glad that they are on a road trip, because if they were home Saturday and Sunday, you'd be getting a lot of Brady Dennison. I'll tell you that much, because this is not good. I can't operate like this. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I was in the middle of talking to, I'm in class with freshmen, and freshmen, they're all chatty. So I always tell them, I'm like, I can't talk over you. I need my voice for a living. You need to shut up when I'm speaking. And an hour later, I'm like, wow, I have no voice.
Yeah.
That was a couple days ago. So we're going to have to, I apologize to the people. My takes are going to be short and sweet for the most part today. So
Does that mean I get to talk more?
I think that's what the people want anyway. Let's be honest.
I don't know.
So we record here on a Thursday after the T-Birds get a massive win in Lehigh Valley. And Matt, I think more than anything, it looked good.
Look, we talked about this last week's episode, where you're seeing better hockey. It just looks better. It's cohesive. It's effort. It's good goaltending. All of the above. All the boxes that we weren't seeing. You're kind of seeing. You're able to check off, and that was my big gripe. And the fan, the homer in me, truly, honestly, is like, all right, the team can do it. But like, I try to think, and Steve, you're the professional radio guy, but like, I do take this serious. And I'm like, I haven't seen anything yet to give me the maybe, hey, let's go. Come on. But you're seeing it. You're seeing good hockey. You're seeing good goaltending. And, you knock on all the wood you can. Our T-Birds are a point out of a playoff spot. Which, look, all you want is for them to be there in the grind and to be playing games that have meaning. There's the spoiler, team, and teams can have fun in that. But we've always said it. There's just always too much talent on this team. You see it. We know it. There's too much talent on this team to be the spoiler. So they're still in 8th place in the division, but after. Was it a 2-3 victory earlier in the week? Let me pull up my phone real quick.
Yeah,
yep, on Saturday again. Like we're we games are spread out here, so we're going back to last Saturday, the 13th, was a 3-2 victory over Utica, and then Wednesday night, last night, as of this recording, they go into Lehigh Valley and win 3-1, and we'll break it down. But the special teams right now, and that's another thing. Like, that's an anomaly too. How this team is killing penalties, and on the power play too. Their special teams are not indicative of a team that should be in 8th place. It just isn't, right? So, hockey has a way of balancing itself out. And I'm going to try to stay in the moment. Is this a team that I'm seeing that I can say, ooh, this is a contending team right now for a Calder Cup? I'm not going to go there yet, but is this a team that now I am seeing of, yeah, this can be a playoff team. Yes, I'm seeing that, right? So um I'm now expecting more wins to come. But overall, very pleased with these last two victories.
Yeah, I think you're seeing things that were unexpected. Like I personally, I think over the last month, I think Marc-Andre Godet's been your best defenseman,
Mhm.
hands down. I didn't see that coming. I think Sasuyev has played really, really well. I think you're seeing guys come on. I mean, Chris Wagner has been one of the best players in the entire
Right.
league
Yep.
in the last month, and another
Yep.
shorthanded goal. So you're seeing that. I think the easiest way I can break it down for the fans is that it's at this point, our expectations have changed a little bit, and we need to look at this as a three-horse race, okay? The other teams that are ahead of us in the standings in the Atlantic, they are who they are, all right? But it's a three-horse race for that sixth spot, all right? It's you, Wolfpack, Islanders.
Yep.
1 point separates the three of them. So Wilkes-Barre, Providence, Charlotte, Lehigh Valley, Hershey, they are who they are, all right? And you're going to have to play them, and you're going to have to try to eke out points. What we need to focus on as fans, Hartford, Bridgeport, Springfield. How can we get into that last spot? Once we get to 6, then we can worry about 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st.
Yep.
6th place is the goal, and it's a three-horse race. And so it's got to be that to me is my focus is I'm checking box scores. I'm checking us. I'm checking Hartford. I'm checking Bridgeport. Providence against Lehigh Valley, I can't worry about right
Yep.
now, right?
Yep.
So that's sort of where my expectations are for this team at this current moment. And because I like it that way. I mean, you're one, like you said, we're 1 point out, and three wins to start off a 5-game road trip. Like, I don't know what more you could ask for. You got guys like Troy Murray, who I've never even heard of, come in and just get into a scrap with Eric Bolton's kid, who's just an animal. And he didn't back down. Like I said, you're seeing I think they're seeing swagger in special teams, like legitimate swagger. They're like, get a penalty and they're like, great, let's go kill this. Let's go, not just kill it off. Let's go get a shorty.
Let's go get a shorty. Right. Well,
So
we've talked about this too, how much confidence has played a part in sort of, or lack of confidence played a part into some of their early season struggles. And like hockey, especially, it is a game of momentum shifts, from a week to week basis, as much as it is from a period to period basis. And right now there is nothing you legitimately have the best penalty kill in the league right now. So when you go on a penalty, there isn't that sense of, all right, here we go again. It's here we go again. Like, let's go. Let's steal the momentum, because there's as much of a momentum swing in killing a good, having a good PK as it is to getting those goals and those, those things that we've talked about, those 3-minute stretches or the times after a goal kind of thing. And I think the Thunderbirds have done a much better job of controlling the ebbs and flows of a game, so they're not getting caught in those moments where it's just like a 10-minute stretch where it's like, are we even out here? Right? I haven't seen that in a few weeks. And so all these things, and you mentioned Murray, like this, it's surprising too. Like you're seeing, and I don't know if it's all the injuries in St. Louis. Like I play these head games with myself, right?
Yeah, it's got to be.
But I don't know. I just have always thought that sport, at each level, the mental aspect of sport is huge. Was it Little Giants? Remember, John Madden is quoted like, football is 80% mental and 20% physical, or something like that. Those numbers are wrong. Don't quote me on that. But Little Giants has a quote.
It's been 30 years since I've seen that movie.
You got to watch that with your kids.
I haven't watched it in a while.
But there's a quote, and that's true. So I always play mental games with myself. And so I'm just in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I wonder how much with all these injuries and Hugh McGing going up, coming down. Matt Luff is up now. I would imagine he comes back down. Otto Stenberg is up now. I would imagine he's coming back down again. Kaskamaki was up and is down. There has to be a feeling because St. Louis, it's all these long-term injuries. It's not like day to day. Dylan Holloway just was the latest one.
Yep.
And I think he gets reevaluated in 8 weeks.
Oh,
So it's like, or it's 6 or 8 weeks. But it's like you're talking months before these players are ready to come back. I even wonder, are they going to be, rehab assignments here in Springfield? Is kind of like the type of injuries that these players are having. But anyway, so how much does that play in the back of a player's mind of like wins or losses aside? I've got to go out there and I have to make it impossible for this team not to call me up because there are spots available where they need call-ups, right? And so does that give a little bit of extra oomph? As a fan, would I want my players to play with that extra level anyway? I would, I'll be honest. But we're all human. And as a teacher, like here's how I draw the analogy of like, as a teacher, you have a rough day and you're just like, by 7th period or that 8th class I have. And I'm just like, after an hour straight of first grade classes back to back, I'm like, I'm tapping out, even though, and what I give my all to my next class, but it's not what I had first thing in the morning.
Right.
Like you're just, here we go. After it's been a rough week. Here we, as a teacher and even just as a career, I think of Nikita Alexandrov, not excusing it, but if there was some level of what's the point of me going all in for a team that's not going to give me a chance, give me a fresh start somewhere else, right? There's some assumption going on there with that comment that I just made, right? But like, I get that because as a teacher, when I see a kid who I wish had more supports and the district is like, sorry, we can't give him more supports now. And like you call a spade, it's like, well, that's what the kid needs. Yeah, but it's not in the budget. But should it matter? No, like that's real life, right? So is right now, are we seeing a Thunderbird team that is like all these young guys, all this young talent, just saying, hey, if I can show them for 2 games what I can do, I get my call up. I make it impossible for them not to give me my shot, right? Maybe there's something there to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, but the nice thing is that at least, and I know I mentioned it, if not last week, the week before, like I've never seen an organization in the same week get somebody that has serious NHL experience in Dylan Dubé and also pulling some guy from the Moose Knuckle Steelheads or wherever Troy Murray was playing, like the total opposite end of the spectrum, and they go out and they get Jonathan Berggren on waivers, I think his name is. So it's like St. Louis and Springfield, they're trying. Like the effort's being made to put a team on the ice. Sam Stang and
Jet Jones.
I never remember the other guy's name. Jet Jones.
Yep.
They were supposed to be like 1 week one-offs.
Yeah.
Yet here they are regulars in the lineup because that's where you're at now.
Yep.
And so
they're playing well though.
They're playing well. And so it's going to be like this, I think, for a while, but I think that the front offices in both St. Louis and Springfield are trying. They're making the effort. And sometimes I think that's good for teams that are struggling. When you're struggling, sometimes you need a fresh face or faces or a couple of, you need a Hugh McGing spark. And his assist the other night to Dvorsky was just gorgeous. It was so nasty. And
then you had Luffer and McGing getting their first point as a Blue. That's how it was. McGing's first NHL goal. Luff has had one, but it was his first with the Blues on the same night, and it was great. They're the St. Louis Thunderbirds, but
we're doing our part sort of as a front office to try to bring in new faces that can sort of give something new. And like I said, I knew nothing about Troy Murray, but as soon as I saw him out there wearing number 34, Sam Bitten's number, throwing down with Sawyer Bolton, I was like, man, okay, now I know what this guy does, and he did more than that. I thought he skated well. He had a couple of halfway decent chances. To me, the biggest thing that I've noticed is them inside of their own zone. clearing pucks from the front of the net, clearing bodies from the front of the net, knowing who their assignment is. There is no one guy wide open on the back door and two T-Birds players looking at each other going, I thought you had him. Well, I thought you had him.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that. I saw organization. I saw communication, marking your man, being in the right spot at the right time. Like that to me sometimes it's as simple as communication. Sometimes it's as simple as opening your mouth and talking to your teammates.
Yep.
Like that was for me, it was lacrosse. Like lacrosse, playing defense in lacrosse is all about communication. Every time the ball moves, you need to yell out who your guy, how far away are you, and if you don't have that communication, that's where you get breakdowns. And so sometimes I think it's just as simple as not getting caught up the ice and giving up odd man rushes, or just, like I said, knowing who you have and who's around you, where the puck is. Like they looked so much more just straight up organized in their own zone. And that to me is how you keep not only the goals down, Matt, but the shot totals.
Yes.
I mean, they still got outshot 2-1 the other night against Lehigh Valley, but it was like 26-15, not 42-25. Like I'd rather that first thing, So I thought they're on to something here. Let's see if they can keep it going in Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I want to give credit to Kelly Rosen. I think he's been playing really sound, fundamental leadership role hockey. So he's been impressive. I think he's back in the Springfield groove. Goaltending has been phenomenal. Has been absolutely lights out. Zarenko made a save last night, Wednesday night, late in the third there, where I don't think Lehigh Valley had their goaltender pulled at the moment. Like I think it was right before they pulled. But anyway, post to post, just came across and just robbed. It might have been Bump. I don't know. He was all over the place.
Boy, that Bump, does that guy ever not on the ice? I'd like to see his time on ice. It was like every other shift. Alex
that's
Bump
what I felt
was on
like.
The ice.
Right?
Holy smokes, that guy.
So I'm kind of guessing. The only name I really remember hearing all the time from Ryan.
All game.
But Zarenko played great. And I think if he's playing sound hockey, that's kind of what you need. And if Georgi Romanov continues to play hot too, and I think if you as a Thunderbirds, their kind of recipe is, I think it's going to have to be, you can't do they got the win in Providence, but I don't think that's the recipe for their wins, right? 45 being outshot. Agreed. 45-18 or whatever that was, right? That's not their recipe to win. But I think their recipe to win is keeping the shots close and just playing that sound, letting their goaltenders keep it close. And there's grit, there's talent, and Springfield has always, and for the last half decade, has always sort of embodied that no quit, never out of it attitude. And whether they're up in the standings or down in the standings or making a Calder Cup run or missing the playoffs by a few games, they always have that sort of never give up Springfield grit. And so I think that's sort of just that's going to have to be their recipe. Keep the shots close, keep the score close. We said it a few weeks ago, those key moments in games, the first 3 minutes, last 3 minutes, the time after a goal is given up, get into the flow of the game as quickly as you can, and then let things happen. And if you can be as dominant as you can be on special teams, that's their recipe. Not right, like avoiding those 3 goals in a 7-minute span.
Right.
That's because I think I do think that's sort of Zarenko's kryptonite is the mental piece of it. The physical skill is there. It always has been, but we've said it in the past where when he kind of gets into a funk, it lasts a week or two.
Yeah.
And so if you could avoid those 7 goals, in a game kind of thing, or 3 goals in a 7-minute span.
And I feel like we haven't seen that in a couple weeks, which is good.
We haven't.
And just to piggyback on that, Stenberg in the Utica game scored, Utica tied it up 2-2 in the third. Stenberg scores basically 4.5 minutes later to tie it. The Lehigh Valley game, Bump tied it 1-1 in the third. 2 minutes later, Koskamaki puts him back on top 2-1. So getting those responses, right? And to the shot totals, like they were outshot 15-6 against Utica in the first period. Third period, while they protected a lead, they were only outshot 10-7, keeping those numbers low. Same thing in Lehigh Valley, protecting a lead. They actually outshot Lehigh Valley 10-7 in the third. So low shot totals, be within the same range. It feels like we're talking about shot totals all the time. I'm sure it drives people nuts, but there is a correlation here between keeping those numbers down and keeping the score down. And that's what we're starting to see, at least the last 2 games of the road trip. And I think it's going to be a tough test here against Charlotte. I think Charlotte's probably, if they're not better than both of those teams you played, they play Springfield better than those 2 teams played. Because the Thunderbirds have had success in Lehigh Valley over the last, call it 3-4 years. So I do think that's a big part of the recipe, is starting in their own zone with structure, keeping the totals down, getting through the neutral zone, and even the power play. Like I noticed there was like urgency on the power play. There was like they were attacking on the power play. It wasn't this, bring it up the ice, slingshot it back, weave through, 20 seconds later, you finally get in the zone. It was like, get the puck, attack, get in the zone, forecheck, knock somebody around, move the puck. I was like, yes, like even if you don't score, make it look good. And they those days of them messing around with it for 2 minutes on a power play and not having a single shot, they've been few and far between for the last month, which is good.
Yep.
Oh, I'm really sorry about how I sound. Oh my God, I'm driving.
You're good. Listen, you in pre-meetings or pre-recording, you're sending me texts that I'm thinking,
oh my goodness,
it's not that bad.
It was bad. It was bad this morning. It'll be bad by the time we're done doing this. I guarantee it. But anyway,
drink some hot honey.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you had a ton else from those early games. Like I said, getting scoring, Utica, you get a Sasuya from Stang and Pekarchik, beautiful. Stenberg from Gaudet and Stunsel, awesome. So you get the young kids. Then you go to Lehigh Valley and it's Wagner and Rosen, Koskamaki again. Rosen had 2 assists in that game. Pekka's on the assist sheet. Bushinger looking like Drake May out there flipping the empty netter nice and sky high and burying it. So I like that dynamic. One game it's the kids, the next game it's the vets. Like I love that.
I like it, and to piggyback off of that, like I just like the fact that this season has already been full of its ups and downs. And I like the fact that everyone is contributing. Like you're needing to rely on everyone. You haven't seen a heater from anyone yet. Last year, you had Nikita Alexandrov going like a 20-game point streak. He was over a point per game for 20 straight games, right? In a span. You had Matthew Pekka with his 8-game goal streak or something like that, right? It was a team record for a goal streak in a season. We haven't seen that yet.
And Gaudet before that. Adam
Gaudet, right? Like that was a season long nuts, and that's not I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Maybe it'll happen this year, maybe it won't. But the fact that you're getting contributions up and down the lineup, like you said, from your young guys, from guys on your fourth line, from your veterans, from your Chris Wagners that were brought in here, I'm going to assume Pekka's going to get his goals. At the end of the season, you're going to look back and he's going to have goals. Hugh McGing is going to have goal. I'm assuming that, right? And so if you're getting Dylan Peterson, I don't want to give away who I'm looking forward to,
wink, wink.
Yeah. Wink, wink, hint, hint. But, I'm expecting things to happen, and it doesn't have to happen at over a point per game clip for me, but those things, the fact that you're getting contributions from everyone, from guys you weren't expecting to contribute yet, I just think is a good sign of things to come.
And just real quick, what happens when Akil Thomas is healthy?
If
they start playing Dylan Dubé like that, like now we're talking like Akil Thomas can ball when he's healthy.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to jump through a wall for this Akil Thomas move. I just want to see him on the ice.
I want to see him play.
He's going to be dynamic. And when those guys are in, first of all, who do you sit? And second of all, that's just going to be a whole nother layer. It's going to be 4 lines of constant coming at you. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do about it as a defense and as a goalie? So, I don't know. We'll see what this weekend brings. I don't know what they're all kind of been hush-hush on the Akil Thomas thing for obvious reasons. And same with Dubé. I don't know what the game plan is there, but if those two guys in the near future can be on the roster, be in the lineup and contribute, now you're absolutely cooking.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
So one other quick thing I wanted to mention from Utica. If you haven't seen it out there, folks, and you have Flow Hockey, just go watch the last 2.5 minutes of the game and watch Alec Koskamaki. One of the best defensive shifts from a forward I've seen in a long time. An absolute clinic. I know the game was a long time ago, and one of those things I wrote down and didn't want to forget. What a sequence by number 41 in his own zone. Just an absolute monster shift for him that literally saved the game. So that was, I guess, my last point on the games of past.
Yep.
Let's see what
let's you want to do. We'll do some reads, and then we have our latest round. We'll announce who wins, and then we'll talk about our next round coming up, and then we got some fan rants, and then the week ahead, and then you can drink your tea.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I'd like to apologize to our three main sponsors before this even begins. We want to thank our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst, with its unique location set in the center of Amherst, allowing for clients and groups to enjoy social constructs of city life. Here comes the little crack in my voice. Founder Teresa Dooley Smith is a leader with the speech and language community, continuing to find innovative ways to meet the needs of all individuals. For more information, you can visit tdsspeech.com. You can call them at 413-835-0735. Imagine if I had to do a game tomorrow night. Oh my God.
T-Bird, go.
Oh my, it would be bad. MCU training. I feel bad for Brady because it's not lining up for him. This would be his weekend. This would be his moment, and he doesn't get one. Sorry, Brady. MCU Training Center is your one-stop facility for all your training needs. Regardless of your talent level, MCU has room for you to improve your craft. They offer training for soccer, lacrosse, basketball, golf, hockey, floor hockey, field hockey, weight training, agility. They kind of got it all. If you're looking for a birthday party where the kids can be active and not just staring at screens, they could just be kids. Give them a call, 301-6040. That's 301-6040, or at mcutrainingcenter.com. And Lord, help me as we get through this one. The last read, our friends at Landscaping That Fits and our buddy Rob Fitzpatrick. We're running out of time. You only have till January 31st to go to landscapingthatfits.com. Use the promo code SRG20, and you'll save 20% off each application of fertilizer all season long. I know you've been hearing me saying it. I'm an actual customer, and I'm telling you, it works. It works. My lawn looked amazing all summer long into the fall. 6 fertilizer treatments. You get your fall lime, crabgrass, your winter protector, grub control, all this other stuff that I know nothing about. Rob does, and he's the man. So check out landscapingthatfits.com. Click get a quote at the top of the page and mention the code word SRG20. You can also give him a call at 847-0338. Even if he doesn't answer, leave a message. Say, my name is X. I want the SRG deal. Here's my number. Give me a call back. Rob is a great dude, and he is awesome at what he does. So thanks to Rob, thanks to TDS Center, thanks to MCU Training Center for sponsoring this podcast. And I apologize, Post, for the bollocksing the whole thing with this horrible voice of mine. Back to you,
great.
Matt.
You did great. You know what? Maybe we should get like the transcript of the words on the bottom.
Yeah, we're gonna need this episode's gonna need captions.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but
I can do it.
All right, so here we go. We moved over to our defense and goaltending side of our bracket. We had our number 1 seed, Tommy Cross, against our number 8 seed, former goaltender for your Thunderbirds, Charlie Lindgren. And Tommy Cross wins. It wasn't super close, but you know, as expected. I think for me, I've been thinking about how I want to approach this as the co-host of this show. I don't want to like try to influence people, especially with this next matchup coming up. But like, how can I express like my thoughts or my feelings? So now Tommy Cross wins. Charlie Lindgren was a fantastic goaltender. For me personally, like I was leaning toward on the Tommy Cross side just for longevity. When you're talking about a greatest of all time type of thing, a 34 game blip is a harsh word to use because I don't want to like make it sound like it was nothing, just a blip on the radar. It was more than that, right? And I don't know if you get to that Calder Cup run without the solid goaltending of a Charlie Lindgren with Joel Hofer behind him. But the things that Tommy Cross I think has done for this organization is still being felt now, if that makes sense. And
Absolutely.
sort of, no disrespect to previous captains, but if there's such a thing as elevating the captainship, I think Tommy Cross did it, if that makes sense, right? I think what hook, line, and sinker bought my family in was the community piece. And I think Tommy Cross, that was like that first year that my kids fell in love with the team. And so, he's sort of like the face of that. And I'll never forget, he was our first interview, on this podcast. What a nice guy. And then when it was Tommy Cross night for the Thunderbirds, just randomly me, Jill, and the boys were walking up the back stairwell, and who do we see but Tommy Cross and Nate? And Tommy's recognized my kids. Oh, boys, I from the podcast. How and they still smile about that. They still have that the picture that we took in the stairwell is still on their wall. So it's those little things. So I expected Tommy Cross to win, and that he was kind of my guy, my vote on this one as well.
It's funny on that. Like I saw him in the tunnel before that game, and because again, he's he's kind of a good looking dude, and he looks me right in the eye, and he's like, "Steve, how are you? Good to see you again." And I'm like, first of all, your eyes are like too much. It's like looking at the sun. Like I can't look at him for too long. And second of all, I'm like, this guy remembers my name. Like, I don't know. I just assume these players just know me as like the announcer guy. I don't even think anybody knows who I am. But yeah, no, knowing first name, shaking hands, right? And think about how that's trickled down to Pekka. I mean,
right.
Day one of the teddy bear, the teddy bear toss, and then the donations. Day one of the donations, it's Matthew Pekka. It's the captain. So you talk about it still being felt. I think that it is still being felt with guys like Pekka, who are now in his shoes in the leadership role. And the sort of irony of it, and this is why we arranged it this way, because we didn't want to have who had the better career, because Charlie Lindgren's still playing in the NHL. He's actually had a much better career on paper than Tommy Cross has. It's everything else, right? It's everything else. And I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Charlie Lindgren, because he seems like a pretty good dude too. Mm-hmm. And most of his success was the year where I wasn't working. I was out in Boston. I wasn't working for the team. So it's just funny to see it play out this way. And I think that this is why we wanted to have it organized this way. Yep. And granted, so far the matchups haven't been close, but you're talking about a 1 seed versus the bottom seed and a 2 seed versus the bottom seed.
Wait for this week's. I think this week is going to be close, I think.
Well, let's tell the people.
So here we go, folks. And this is going to be a quick week. We're going to try to turn around the episode Monday. So you're listening to us hopefully Friday, Saturday before the Thunderbirds game. This is going to quick vote. So get out there, like, share, and vote right away, because our next episode that we're going to record in just a few days is probably going to have the next matchup, depending on as long as we get the fan interaction we expect.
Hopefully we're shooting for a Monday record, Tuesday release. So I know we usually do Wednesdays, but it's going to be Christmas Eve. Yeah, like Monday record, Tuesday release, and then so you enjoy your Christmas. You got basically like 2 or 3.5 days. You don't have the usual 6-7.
So here we go. Number 3 seed Tyler Tucker versus number 6 seed, sometimes his D pairing, Matthew Kessel. This is a fun one. Tyler Tucker versus Matthew Kessel. And their careers, I think, like parallel. They're very similar. If you look at, and this is where I've been getting a lot of my sort of numbers from Elite Prospects. They have an all-time regular season list of all different Thunderbirds and things like that. So let's go into Matthew Kessel real quick first. 151 games played for Matthew Kessel
In Springfield?
in Springfield.
Wow.
Which was I agreed.
That's a
I was
high
surprised
number.
by
Wow.
that. Yes. Yep. 151 games played. And well, early in his career, he was an every night, he
Yes.
was such a big prospect. And I think also coming out of UMass, right?
And even in the playoffs, he was playing in that long playoff run
Yeah,
too.
he was
those are games.
151 games for Matt Kessel, 13 goals, 48 assists, totaling 61 points for a 0.4 point per game average. I think that's pretty solid for a defenseman.
Absolutely.
And 4 years with the team. His team, his range from 2021 to 25. And then Tyler Tucker, 138 games played, 10 goals, 39 assists, totaling 49 points for a 0.36 point per game. And same kind of thing, 2021 to 2025 for your Tyler Tucker. So a lot of parallels with these two players. If you go back and listen to our library, we probably are a little bit more outspoken about Matthew Kessel. We probably talk a little bit more about him early on in the show. But again, I don't want to give too much away on where I am leaning on this one, but I am expecting this to be a close 3-6 matchup. I think for me, both players bring a level of physicality. They bring a level of toughness and obviously skill. They're both kind of doing their thing now in the NHL. And I've seen them a few times actually playing together as the same D pairing in the NHL as well. So I don't know if you have any thoughts, if you want to share. I'm going to save my kind of thoughts for Monday's episode when we, reveal the results of this. But
yeah, I mean, my only thing is, and I know you kind of mentioned it, but I feel like they're just different style of players. I feel like Tucker's way more rough and tumble and than Kessel, and I think Kessel is way more skilled, I guess. Like I don't expect to see Tyler Tucker on the power play. But I don't expect to see Matt Kessel fighting NHLers.
Right. Yep.
Right. So I do think that they each bring something a little different and a little unique to the table in terms of what you're looking for. And I think that's part of the reason why they do get often paired up with each other, because they're like chocolate and vanilla and they work well in a twist. But they're different. They sort of are different flavors. So
I like that. They work well in a twist. Well done.
Well in a twist. So yeah, it's I'm interested to see how this goes and maybe what people are remembering or what people, sometimes it's a name. Sometimes they hear a name and they're like, oh, I like that guy. I remember liking that guy. Remember? So Matt Kessel had a huge goal in the playoffs. Tyler Tucker had a huge fight in the playoffs, in that playoff run. So yeah, this will be a fun one. A fun little 3-6 matchup. I believe Tucker is the 3 seed. Is that right?
Tucker is our 3 seed and Matthew Kessel is our 6.
So I think this will be a close one for sure. It should be fun. Oh boy. I'm still with it. Right. I promise.
Let me read some fan rants here.
Yes, sure.
Fan rants brought to you by
one I really liked.
That fits. The first one on the rundown or the second one?
I'm not sure. I gotta pull it up.
Okay,
but you go ahead and have at it, and then I'll catch up.
Let me just read. We didn't have a whole lot. But friend of the show, Lola Rios. I spent the last 2 minutes of the Utica game alternating between grasping my couch pillows, yelling at the TV, and praying. You and me both. That was intense. That was fun. But like you said, Steve, if you watch it now that you know the result, rewatch it, because there are some players out there putting on a clinic. In Alex Kaskamaki, I thought he played really well, and I am going to talk about Kaskamaki at the end, how we kind of have been wrapping up the show with what are we looking for moving forward, calling out a player or two, what do we want next from them. But I am with you, Lo. It was a good game, back and forth all game long. In those last 2 minutes, you're like, just hold on, Thunderbirds, hold on. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think I do. I exactly what you said, because it is worth following up on how that game ended. And that's the kind of game where I feel like a month and a half ago they lose. Mm-hmm. And to see that they didn't lose. They held it together. They held down the fort. They played together as a team. They got the puck out of their own zone and they won. I mean, massive. And the same kind of thing happened. I mean, Lehigh Valley was pushing hard at the end of that game, and Bushinger was able to flip it out and get the sort of get the insurance empty netter to sort of seal the deal. And in both of those games, I think in October they would have lost them. November they might have lost them, and we didn't see that. So yeah, Lola, that was a barn burner there for sure. I'm going to ask you this next one. Then you can ask me if you like, but question for both Steve and Matt from Daniel Flynn. What does Springfield hockey mean to you? What's the thing you both look forward to every season?
I'm with you. This was the second one on my list. That's why Daniel, I love your questions, your insight, and you bring conversation to the table. I love that. So thank you. Keep it up. I would appreciate your feedback here, and your graphics too. Job well done with that. Listen, Springfield hockey to me is fatherhood. It's it has allowed me to reenact to everything that my childhood was. Springfield hockey has enabled me to give it to my kids. I can't bring my kids to professional sports. I don't have the money. As a kid growing up, we would take my family, we would go see the Yankees. We would take the train in. We would go to the old Giant Stadium and tailgate and but just ticket costs are
insane,
much higher now. You got to pay $100 just to park at MetLife Stadium. And so so for me, Springfield hockey is fatherhood. I've made memories with my kids over the last half decade that I have with my dad and my brother as a kid, bus trips to watch even the Mets play. We have Springfield hockey here, and that has been something that I've been able to share with my kids. And honestly, it's something that I'll give Jill credit. She was not a hockey fan 3 years ago. Even when we started going to the games, she would go because she loved spending time with her family too. And the kids enjoyed it. So she would go. She's a hockey fan now. So now I can take Jill and the boys to a hockey game on our wedding anniversary, and that's okay. Like, she's cool with that, right? I had to take her out for dinner the next night, but
came back around.
So for me, not to get too sappy about it, but it's fatherhood. I am, among other things, but I think Springfield hockey and the Thunderbirds are kind of central core memories that my kids will always have, and we make events out of it. We're able to enjoy downtown Springfield. We're able to get my kids excited to, go to Wahlburgers or walk around Springfield, or we walk through the Seuss Museum Garden. We have just hung out in downtown Springfield pre some Sunday afternoon games before. And, we look into what's going on at the Mass Mutual Center before the games, whether it be a card show or the Festival of Trees or something like that. And we make events out of it. And I'll forever be grateful for that.
Oh, totally. And I don't mind up in the sappiness, because there's a lot of people, I don't even know if Matt knows a lot of this, but my grandparents, my dad's parents, and my dad, when he was a kid, used to live across the street, basically from the Big E, when the team played at the Coliseum. And my grandparents in like the 50s and 60s used to house players. So it was my grandfather, my grandmother, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, and some 24-year-old from Manitoba in the house. And my grandfather would be going down to the Elbow in Agawam, which is still there. It's like the one bar in Agawam I've never stepped foot in. But he'd be out with the players drinking at the Elbow. My dad grew up, started his own business, was a big time advertiser with the team, and grew to have a relationship with Bruce Landon. And, I was having birthday parties here. I was, bothering the Zamboni drivers for pucks. Like, I was doing all the stuff that all these 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids do now. And then to sort of have that come full circle where I got into broadcasting right as John Peliquin was retiring as the announcer. And like you said, to be able to now have my kids in the booth and the team's okay with that. And I have Vadim Zarenko coming up in warmups and tapping the glass to my kids. And, having my son in the booth on kids takeover game. And I'm, he's the only kid working a third period because they only do the first and second period. But they say, you know what, Steve, take your son down for the third period, give him some reads. Like, my heart, like, oh my God, like, it's so special and unique. And I love showing up every day. I can't tell you how much there's a reason I don't work in Boston anymore, because I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here in Springfield, where I spent so much of my childhood, where my dad spent his childhood, and where my kids are spending their childhood. And the same thing, it's hard on my wife because she's got to go solo. It's 1-on-2. I got to work the game. So she doesn't mind taking the kids, they do a lap around in the second intermission. They get Dippin' Dots and whatever else. Like, they treat my family so well over there. And it means the world to me that, that they kind of, they just support me and my family and what I do. And I love working for Nate. Every game that I go in there is a blessing. I know it. I'm the relationships I have with the guys in the penalty box are twice my age, but they're like brothers to me. The people that I met, the great late Jay Denver and oh my goodness, what who's the ref we had on there? Casey Terreri. It's just the players I've gotten to interview working at the radio station, and it's like such a ingrained part of my life. And having my kids sort of grow up to be rink rats is pretty awesome too. So it really does. It means the world. I got really lucky. I'm so blessed. And I just feel so bad for Brady Denniston because I'm not leaving, buddy. Like, I'm sticking around no matter how bad until Nate throws me out. I'm going to be sticking around. So great
So
question.
It sounds like, both of us, Springfield hockey is more than hockey.
It really is.
And that's the amazing part. And it's friendships, it's relationships. And, something cool of being able to do this is meeting a lot of the fans and talking to you on the concourse and hearing your stories about how you've been going to games since you were a kid too. And it's incredible. And, who knows what the future brings for our kids, right? I mean, I'm not from Western Mass, not from the state. So I don't know if I don't know if the future, my kids stay here. I don't know. I don't know, but I hope that, what they can bring to their family is a way to build these core memories and have these fun times with us. Cause they go way too fast.
And it's way too fast. The city is unique because it has a community vibe to it. The hockey community in Springfield has a community vibe to it. And it's because we are the third smallest city in the state. We are the redheaded stepchild. Boston thinks that the state ends at 495. They don't even think about us. And so we are able to have that sort of all for one unique community. Yeah. And I don't know this, but I can't imagine a city like Hartford or Chicago or Toronto where you're second fiddle to another organization. I mean, even Charlotte's a big city. Like, it's a massive, it's a hub for if you ever went on an airplane, chances are you went through Charlotte. How do the Toronto Marlies have a sense of small town community? I don't know how it's possible. Maybe they do, maybe they pull it off. I just don't know how it's possible. Yeah. So what we have in Springfield now, I just think is so unique as a community, as a group. And you go to these games and I see a lot of the same faces, and then I see a lot of new faces. And I go to the grocery store and I have people bagging my groceries talking about Springfield Thunderbirds hockey. Like,
Stop and Shop in Agawam, Dad.
Stop and Shop in Agawam.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Shout out to Matt. Matt working the baggage. So, Beth worked at our Stop and Shop in Speeding Hills for a long time, and then she moved on. But I like that. I like that. It's such a nice community feeling, and that starts at the top with Nate and works its way down. And Mayor Sarno, and the schools that come out, and it's so unique in the best way possible. And that's sort of that community vibe that I feel. So thank you again, Dan, for the question. It's an awesome question.
Yeah, that's great. And you bring it up, and it's just a thought. I don't want to, we don't have to keep talking
why
about
not?
it, but
this is great.
Just like where else can you have the Basketball Hall of Fame, the casino, MGM? Like, you have these major entities of a Springfield of entertainment hubs, right? That are true one-on-one partners with the Thunderbirds. Like, they work hand in hand. How often
the Big E. Yep.
Where else, name, like you said, Charlotte, my brother lives down there. There's everything down there. They have
Right.
everything down there,
And
professional sports
it's a
and minor
college.
league.
I could say, and it's a college town. Right?
Yeah,
Is that really
so
Duke and UNC and all that stuff? Yeah.
it's like, where else in Springfield can you have a major casino in MGM? You have professional basketball Hall of Fame, and every event it goes hand in hand. The Springfield Thunderbirds, they do their season ticket holder meet and greet with fans at the Basketball Hall of Fame. How many events have MGM? Like they're right there at MGM, and vice versa. So that is
I'll give you
so
one more.
unique about Springfield.
I'll give you
Absolutely,
one
yeah.
more. Rock 102 and Baxton Nagel, which I
Yeah,
think is
yeah.
just a massive. It's a massive. It's literally keeping radio alive out here, and
Yeah.
Boston with the Sports Hub and WEEI and all that. They don't even know Baxton Nagel exist, but we do, and they're here, and they're massive here.
Yeah.
They are a big fish, small pond, and they like it that way. And what a partnership there is there. So it is the big E. It's just everything. And that starts with T-Birds marketing and communications and community involvement, and they get involved in that stuff. And it's a home run. It really is.
Yeah. The other fan rant, we had a lot, Karen and Sam all talking about the improvement, and it's great to see. But one I did want to bring up, and I'm not an expert on it. You chime in if I'm wrong. Casey Terreri, send us a message if I'm wrong on this. But Trini had a question about the penalty shot and what sort of, if it tripping, what determines whether it's a penalty shot or just a 2-minute power play. As I understand it, that is the referee's discretion call on basically if the player was on a breakaway, and if they were, again, as the referee sees it, were they on a breakaway and did they have a shot? And if that shot was taken away because of the penalty, that is what that can determine whether or not it would be a penalty shot or your typical 2-minute power play.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the basketball adopted the clear path foul.
Correct. Yeah.
If they were going in on a breakaway and you hit them on the way by, it's a clear path foul. And I think there's something about the distance too. Like if you weren't within range and then got in the range and then tripped them like a real breakaway, then that's where the discretion sort of kicks up. But it's how many times have you seen it where you're like, ooh, that should be a penalty shot, and they call it tripping, and you're like, oh, well, at least we
would you like to see more penalty shots, or do you like the 2-minute power play?
I like giving the team the option.
Ooh,
you ask the coach, what do you want? You want a penalty shot or a power play?
Yeah.
Let's just, take it out of the hands of the officials. This call can go either way. Coach, what do you want? And because that could depend on if your power plays 0 for 4.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, are you a hot power play right now, or are you? Yeah.
So I'd give it.
That's not a bad strategy involved. Yeah.
Yeah. Take it, and then the refs, their hands are washed of it. They don't. It doesn't. Well, I saw this, and so I made this call.
Yeah.
No, I saw it. I went to the coach. That's what the coach wanted to do. It takes the load off of the refs. You know what I mean? So anyway,
but the way we struggle with shootouts, after overtime, put me on that 2-minute power play, as painful as some of them are to watch.
And the other thing too is I believe that whichever player got impeded against has to take the penalty shot. So like you can't just, I don't think you can just go and get your best penalty shooter off the bench and put him in. I think it's whoever got tripped. So maybe that guy's really good or really not good at the penalty shot.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, and I only know that, I remember seeing Sean Thornton for the Bruins take a penalty shot and score. And I was like, Sean Thornton has to take it because he was the guy who was impeded against. So I think that maybe would take into it too. So all the more reason to give it to the coach, the head coach. Discretion. I like it. Anyway.
Those are our fan rants. That's kind of what we got. We did not have a lot this week, but we'll bring them back next week too.
For sure.
All right, few minutes. Week ahead here. We have 2 games, Saturday and Sunday in Charlotte. Right now, Charlotte is sitting in 3rd place in the division with 30 points. Springfield in 8th with 21. One thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, though, with these, aside from Grand Rapids Griffins right now, who, by the way, are 23-1.
Oh my good
Lord. Pause for a second. This is a Thunderbird podcast, but the Griffins are 23-1.
Wow.
shootout loss. It's incredible. They are the Thunderbirds in the last 10. You could argue are the hottest team. They are 6-1-3. So with only one regulation loss in their last 10, which is huge. I mean, that's what you need. You're basically getting a point every game. And that's what they need to continue for a while. But like you said at the top, right? Take it one game at a time. So, I think you're going up against a Checkers team. You play well. Good, solid goaltending. Louis Domingue was just signed by them too. I think a few weeks ago. I think I saw that. But you got Cooper Black and then that other guy. Yeah,
Cooper Black, man, that guy it's almost like they keep him on the roster just to play us
for Springfield. But I can't believe how 6'8". I can't believe more teams don't just find a 7-foot guy off the street and pop him in goal. You don't even have to be that good. I'm not saying Cooper Black isn't, but
go to high school. No, just go to high school basketball games and be like, you know, skate.
You gotta come play goalie for us and just put him on pads. Like, how do you get anything by him? But no, look, this is a good team. This is a team that had their run last year, so they know how to win. You obviously, right? You got to get points here. I think for me, beyond just the result, I would really like to see, like we talked about at the beginning, in the third period, where are these games? They're probably already down there. I don't know when the team flew down. They're probably already down.
I would imagine they left right from Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, probably right.
Guess. I don't know that.
So, when you're playing good hockey, you kind of feel better. The Thunderbirds right now as a team feel pretty good about themselves. And do you have a little bit of extra time in Charlotte to kind of bond and continue to build those relationships off the ice? I think that could be huge. So I'm looking for this team in both of these third periods to be in the games. And I'll go from there. I'll take my chances to see what the results are, what they are. It's obvious to say we need points. Yeah, we need points. But for me, it's more, you got to be in the game in these third periods, late in the game. I want to see them moving Cooper Black left to right. We said it all the time. Change this guy's eye level. If he's just able to just sort of sit there like a brick wall, it's hard to solve him. He's a big dude. So
shoot low.
Get him. Yeah,
shoot low on. If you can't move him left to right, shoot low, because the chance of him getting down to get to glove a puck and ice. In other words, I think you can get a lot of rebounds off the guy.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're crashing one or two at a time and you're getting point shots and you're getting shots from outside that aren't getting blocked, there's going to be chances for rebounds. And that's where you're going to get a guy. That's the second left to right is a rebound that pops over here. And now he's got to move. Like, that's
you need to have
what I want to see.
That front net presence, that needs to be there. You need to change his eye level. You need to get him guessing almost. Right. Because his reaction time, just being a big dude, moving a 6'8" frame up and down, left and right, is going to take more than a 6'3" frame. I don't think he'll be probably in net back-to-back nights. I don't know. Louis Domingue knows the Thunderbirds pretty well, so I don't know if you put him in one night too. I really have not been paying attention to how much Domingue has been playing or how he's been playing, but could you see those goalies back-to-back? Sure. That tough matchup.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think we've got two tough matchups for our goalies too, right? So,
yep. Well, you mentioned you want to see what the third period looks like. I want to see what the first period looks like. All right, you got 2 4:00 starts. These are not 7:00 starts on a weekend, and it is hard to avoid the fact that you have 2 games and then a little bit of time off for Christmas. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm sure they're not flying back to Sweden, but Christmas it's there. You can see it. I don't want to see this team be looking past this weekend to get ready for Santa. I want them. Are you ready to play? The puck drops at 4:05. Are you ready to play? And that's what I want to see. That's what I'm going to be looking for more than anything, is being ready to play. Because the Utica game, as much as we talked about glowingly about it, they were not ready to play that game to start. So I want to see if they're ready to play. I'll give you a player that I'm going to be watching for, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yep.
I'm going to go to the back end, and I'm going to be focused on Theo Lindstein.
Okay. Yep.
I know that the back end has looked a lot better. They are contributing more, especially Marc-Andre Gaudet. But Theo Lindstein's a guy that's supposed to be able to do a little bit of everything. And I want to see guys on that back end with swagger.
Yeah.
I want to see them confident. I want to see them shutting guys down, playing together as a unit, communication. I want to see Theo Lindstein really be involved in all that. You're a player to watch, Matt.
I like it. So I did have Kaskamaki. And if we recorded prior to Lehigh Valley game, that would have been my guy. He had his little stint in St. Louis. When he came back down, Jim Montgomery was quoted in saying, "This kid's got a lot of NHL hockey readiness right now. We just want to see him to continue to develop these few things." And so in my head, I'm like, "Oh, develop these few things, buddy. Like, it's right there for you. Monty likes you, and you said it in our preseason episode, like, Monty likes his young guys. He likes who he likes, right?" So it was Kaskamaki, but I felt like, all right, well, he got his goal, power play goal, so that's a cheap, easy one to do. Here's my guy who I want to see, who I'll be watching in Charlotte, is Peterson, Dylan Peterson. If he's going to continue to be paired up with Kaskamaki, along those same lines, if Kaskamaki is elevating his game and he's feeling a taste of that St. Louis locker room, what does that do for Dylan Peterson? Right. I've been high on him since he made his debut last year. Kid was all over the place. He's another humongous lightning rod of energy. And I know he has had his bumps and bruises this year. I think with his playing style and the AHL schedule, you're going to continue to see some bumps and bruises from Dylan Peterson. It's just how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But can we, playing, if he stays on a line with Kaskamaki, I like that. I'm looking to see what Dylan Peterson can do. And again,
to take that one step further, if you're Dylan Peterson, you're watching Stenberg get called up.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Get called up. McGinn get called up. Luff get called up. Everyone's gotten called up except him.
And that's why I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, right.
That's what I said at the beginning of the show, was like, is this creating a little bit of friendly competition within the competition? Sure. And again, like, I want these players, as a fan, selfishly, I want these players to play with, regardless whether there's injuries or not. Like, I want you playing, giving it your all, but we're human, and there's going to have to be a little bit of extra oomph. If you see the light at the end of that tunnel, right? I can see that call up. I can see my rookie lap. It's there.
Right.
If I'm telling you, I anybody, but I'm watching Peterson. If you have these 2 games in Charlotte, you light it up down, and it's folks, it's not all just about a goal or an assist. It's about playing, two-way hockey. It's about playing your special teams, playing 200-foot hockey, if you want to play in the NHL. So if you have a dominant kind of weekend and you're winning your one-on-one matchups, the call-up is there. The rookie lap is there if you want it, right? So
yep.
I'm looking for Kaskamaki to continue his progression and seeing if Peterson can step up.
Those are good ones. I hope I'm making another TikTok video for those who are seeing and liking our TikTok videos. Thank you. I editing them is a pain, but you people like them, so I'm going to keep making them. We want to give a big thank you to you guys again for listening, for communicating with us on social media, getting involved, voting, all that stuff, dealing with me with this horrible sound coming out of my face. We want to thank our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning at tdsspeech.com. Our friends at the MCU Training Center in Agawam, right over the bridge from the Big E, mcutrainingscenter.com. 301-6040 is the number. By our buddy Rob at Landscaping That Fits. Again, SRG20 is the promo code to get 20% off your fertilization for the entire 2026 years, but it ends December 31st in don't make me do math.
2 days.
Yeah, like a week and a half. So you got to get on that. But really, thanks to those for supporting us. Again, we talk about it being a community. big thank you to those local folks for sponsoring. And I just want to throw one other thing out there.
Yep.
I talk about how much I love this team and how family oriented they are. The game on the 28th, it's the sensory friendly game, which is unfortunate because I'm going to have 19 Fornies in the building, including my aunt Karen, who is going to be louder than the goal horn, I think, that game. But her son, my cousin, is also going to be the military member of the game. And he is pardon my language, badass. This kid is freaking awesome. And so again, for Alana and Frank for hooking up you get those like group rates. Trust me, they're paying for the tickets, but for those people setting that all up for me, again, you guys are just the best. And I love working with you, and I love us working alongside of you. For you, Nate, it's a blast. You guys are the best. So thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you, fans. We appreciate it. Continue the likes, the shares, tell your friends about us. Don't forget to vote. Look on social media tomorrow. I will have the posts out. Your 3 seed Tyler Tucker versus your 6 seed Matthew Kessel. Keep the fan rants coming. We'll bring some fan rants after the weekend games with Charlotte. Let's get some dubs. T-Birds, 2 games in Charlotte. Let's go, T-Birds.